Hi, I'm Brenda Quintana coming to you from the Beehive. Today I'm going to show you how to make this striking calla lily card using the bleach technique and the Remarkable You stamp set. This stamp set has these gorgeous blooms in it and I couldn't wait to start stamping with it. Now the bleach technique is not a new technique, but this calla lily was just calling for it. I like to have blue backgrounds for my florals, so to get this white, the bleach technique is just perfect for that. When using the bleach technique, you'll need to test your cardstock to see what colors the bleach will pull from it. So I took all the colors of blues that we have and I tested them just by dabbing a cotton swab on the center of each one. And you'll notice that some of my darker colors pulled a lot of yellow, and calla lilies are white, so I wanted to make sure that I pulled white from it. So in the end, I chose Marina Mist as my choice for this particular card. But if you're interested, if you want to refer to this chart, I will post it on my blog. So let's get started. You'll want to start off with a piece of cardstock that is 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. And because sometimes the bleach will bleed through a little bit, you'll want a separate layer for your card front, and then you'll attach it to your card base afterwards. And you'll also want to protect your surface with some paper, and if you're accident prone, you might also want to protect yourself because we will be using bleach. So to start off with, we will need your embossing buddy, which we are going to be embossing the flowers to give it a really crisp look. So I'm just rubbing this embossing buddy over my surface. This will help the stray flecks of embossing powder not stick to the areas where there's no Versamark. And I've got my Versamark here, and I've got my calla lily stamp already on a block, and I'm just going to tap the Versamark pad. I like to ink my bigger stamps with facing upwards because I can see better where the ink is going. And then I am going to stamp it over in the left bottom corner like that. And then bring my Versamark back in. I've got the You're Remarkable stamp, and you'll think this might look crooked, but I've actually mounted it so it will be straight with the bottom, because this has a little bit of a slant that isn't quite level. So just make sure when you mount your stamp that you mount it straight with the edge of the block, and that way you'll know better where your stamp is stamping. Or you can use a Stamp-A-Majig, but I am going to eyeball this. So I'm just going to line up the edge of the block with the edge of my cardstock. And there we go. And now I've got, this is embossing powder. And I have dumped my embossing powder into a container to make it easier to recapture the embossing powder that's left over. So I'm going to start off with putting powder on the Remarkable You, and then I'm going to take it off or tap it off, and then I'm going to put it over onto the calla lily. And then I'm going to tap it off as well. So we've got all the embossing powder on here. I also like to, you can maybe see I've got a little bit of stray embossing powder. So what I also do is I bring over my garbage can and I just put this so it's facing down, and I give it a little snap. And then if a lot of the embossing powder will come off like that. But if you still see some stray flecks, you can take a little paintbrush and just get rid of any stray flecks that you see, because stray flecks will emboss right into your cardstock. And then you can give it another little tap. Yeah, that looks a lot better. And then we just need our heat tool. Whoops. Okay, so I've got my heat tool on high here, and I'm just going to let it heat for a few seconds. Sorry if it's a little noisy. And when you're embossing black, it will actually turn a different color on you. It starts off kind of matte. Let's see if it, oh yeah, it's actually doing the second one. So let me get that down onto this one. It starts off matte and then it will kind of turn glossy. If you hold it into the light the right way, you will see it turning colors. And it's a good idea to check, because if it's not embossed all the way, then that powder will come off. So let me just double check. I think I didn't get this one quite as well as I should have. Oh, there's a little spot right there. Just hold it to the light and you can usually see where you're stray. You can see where it hasn't embossed properly, but that looks good. And then what you'll do is I've already poured some bleach into this little glass, and I just use Clorox bleach, but you can use any bleach. It doesn't have to be Clorox. And I've got a cotton swab, and I'm just going to dip my cotton swab right in the bleach. And I'm going to start off with this flower here, and I'm just going to go over the part of the flower that I want to have bleached out. And it's going to take, you know, a few seconds to a minute to really start working. When I'm doing the stem, I'm using a very light touch because this is like a kind of thick. And then I'm coming over and I'll do my other flower. And I'm just dipping a few times into the bleach to make sure that I've got everything. And then I'll do the stem, use a really light touch because this is really thick. You could also use like a paintbrush if you wanted to, but I like to throw the cotton swab away afterwards with the bleach, and bleach does ruin things pretty quickly. So you'll notice here that some of my areas don't look like they're turning white. They have too much blue on them. So as I notice, as things are bleaching out, any spot that I missed, I can come back and hit really quickly. Well, you don't have to hit it quickly, but while it's still bleaching out, you can just hit those spots. And then you can just set that aside. And you will want to set this piece aside for about 5 to 10 minutes. It is turning color or turning white as we speak, but it's still wet. So if you try and put any marker or anything on it right now, the marker color will also disappear. So you'll want to make sure it's dry. And to speed up things, I have actually already bleached one ahead of time. And we are going to use the Daffodil Delight and the Old Olive markers, and I'm going to be using the brush tip. And just come in and just hit that center piece of the calla lily, you know, the one I'm talking about, that's yellow, and just hit that with your daffodil, and then you're going to do your stem. And I'll show you in a second, but I was a little bit bleach happy on this one stem. I think my hand shook for a minute, so I've got a little blip. You can see it right there where I got a little bit too much bleach on there. But when you're doing it, just do a really light touch on the stem because the cotton swab is quite thick. Okay, and now we just need a card base to attach our card front to. So I've got this thick Whisper White cardstock, and I've cut a piece to 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and I've scored in half at the 4.25 inch mark. And then you're going to take your bone folder and you're going to use it to crease that fold. And this greeting that could go on the inside, I just love it because you start off with "You are remarkable," and then on the inside you can put "And I'm so grateful for you." So you can emboss the inside greeting if you want to, but in the interest of time, I'm just going to stamp it with my Memento Tuxedo Black and just go ahead and ink it up. Tap, tap, tap. That looks good. And I'm just going to stamp it in the center of my card like that. And then we'll just need a little bit of glue to attach this piece to the front. So you can see how you can see a little bit of the bleach came through. So it was a good thing that this is not right on the card base itself, because just depending on how much bleach gets in any one area, it might bleed through. And then just make sure you've got your card facing the right way. And then you just make sure it's centered. And then smooth it out like that. And then I experimented a little bit. I liked Marina Mist the best, but I also stamped the Calla Lily on Pool Party. This one is a Lost Lagoon, which is, I guess, my second favorite. And then probably my least favorite was the Bermuda Bay. The Bermuda Bay, it took a lot of time to pull the color. I had to go back a second time, and in the end it still was a little yellowish, but I thought I would show it to you anyway. It is a very pretty card base, but out of all of them, probably the Marina Mist one is my favorite. So all the supplies you'll need to make this beautiful Calla Lily card are available for purchase on my blog. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Bye for now.